Rachel Rodgers is always in my head because I can hear her saying, one of the 100 reasons why how you're leaving money on the table is by not showing up every day, not posting content every day. So here I am. You see, it's 8:30. I was definitely going to not post content, not show up, and leave money on the table. But after participating in her Make Money Moves challenge, I've been trying not to do that. So today, I'm going to be on here. Hopefully, won't be on here for 50 minutes. But in today's video, we're going to talk about some of the changes I've made this week so I'm not feeling as overwhelmed or anxious. I'll follow up to my last video last week on my first 90 days as a new nurse practitioner. I'm going to share with you how I'm not leaving money on the table, both with the podcast and with my own practice, my own business. I have some really cool things I want to bring to the podcast. And my idea for the Virtual Preceptor. If you follow me on Instagram, perhaps you've heard me kind of hint towards that. And I've been laying out my thesis on that on the Mahogany Dermatology blog. And so today I'm going to kind of just talk about it a little bit more. So we're back on the couch to catch up, a little bit of a week update. If you're new here, welcome. I am Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner out here on the internet sharing my journey and trying to build community, because whether it's as a student or a practitioner or a budding entrepreneur, I found that I've had the most success when I find myself in community. And so that's what I'm doing here, just creating somewhat of a blueprint and a model for other students and my colleagues who are already experienced to follow. I just love education. I love mentorship. And I kind of look at this whole social media canvas as a way to educate in kind of a new modern way, as opposed to like the formal classroom setting. And so that's what I'm doing. So I welcome you. This video is for you if maybe you're in high school, or you're already a student enrolled in a college program. Maybe you're switching careers. Maybe you're already a clinician and you just want to switch specialties and you're really interested in derm. Or maybe you're a budding entrepreneur and you just want someone to brainstorm with, or maybe you're actually looking for actual support. Then this place is for you. And if you happen to be one of the people who love any of those people, you support them, maybe your friend, a family, a professor, a guidance counselor, a neighbor, a colleague, and you think they might appreciate this content or find it of value, then please share it with them. So let's get into it, because it's 8:30 and I actually have some studying to do before work tomorrow. We changed up some of the ways we're doing our billing and coding, and so I just need to go over that tomorrow so that I can chart and not be up late tomorrow night. So let's start with that. Let's start with like feeling overwhelmed and anxious. So last week I talked about a few things that I noticed had happened in the first 90 days. And so I'm so happy this week I got better sleep. So I want to say 4 out of the 5 work days, I had 6 hours of sleep. One day I went to bed at midnight. But I'm really happy with that consistency. And even over the weekend, I have also averaged 6 hours. So really happy about that. I know I drank a lot more water. I noticed that I was filling up my water bottle much more. I was going to the bathroom a lot more, and I was having a lot more success in there. So really super happy about that. And even the water bottle that I take in the car that I wasn't really drinking, I even had to fill that up more than usual. Well, more than I had been. And so, again, really happy with that. And then I've been sticking with the hours that I want to respond to my phone, whether that's for work or personally. And that really gave me a lot of peace. But I even had to tell myself, I even had to put myself on a little restrictions. So like when I take the dog out and people message me on that walk, I've just decided to just like enjoy the walk and kind of give my eyes a break, and just enjoy the walk, right? And being outside and that kind of thing. Because I noticed like even when I was trying to do yoga and like pray and meditate, like my brain wasn't calming down. And so I started to realize that maybe I was overstimulated. And so even before I go to bed, I kind of cut down as many of the devices as I was being exposed to. And I think that made a really big difference. I had like just an amazing day yesterday, felt so calm, so peaceful. Continue to make a lot of progress with charting last week. Um, and so, yeah, now that we're making some changes, might be a little bit on the slower side. So that's to be expected. We're going to adjust the schedule this week, which I think will work out for everyone. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. It's something I had been thinking about for a while, and then one of my colleagues brought it up, and it maybe I just needed like a little push. But also, she brought up some benefits I hadn't thought of for other people on the team, and so that was good that it wasn't just like I was going to be the only one that like might have benefited from that, and so that really kind of motivated me to make the change. Um, oh yeah, my workouts. So I did do yoga twice, and then all the other days were cardio and weights. And so happy with that. I didn't ride the bike yet. And I'm not sure if I'll get to ride it during the week, but that's the goal. I would just like to ride it at least one day this week. Um, I know once I do it and I have like a few routes that I really feel comfortable with, then I'll just do it more consistently. And then my eating, yeah, I don't think, yeah, my eating was really good this week. Eating's not really, well, actually, the thing that I had mentioned is that I need to eat more frequently. That's challenging, especially during the workday. Um, so I don't know even how that I can make that adjustment, but with changing the schedule, the work schedule, that might actually make a big difference. So I'll have to follow up on that. But yeah, so I just feel really calm, really peaceful. Yeah, you know what it is also, it's just like you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna stumble, you're gonna forget things. Like it's better to just accept that and learn how you're gonna approach it as opposed to like thinking it's not gonna happen or letting it get you down every time. Like that's just part of it. And I was telling my cousin, it's like even though I had been practicing for 10 years, for instance, I hadn't interviewed for 10 years, right? So you could still have a lot of experience in something, and even when you start all over and you're fresh, you're doing that exactly that, starting over fresh. And so just kind of having to remember to give yourself grace. And so I think that's it for that. So as far as my goals for this week is really just get the coding and billing down. Still working on some modules for certification. So yeah, I would like to come back next week and say that I made progress in those areas. So as far as my ideas, so if you're not, I don't know if you're familiar with, I think right now, well, what is this, March? I don't know if he's done with residency yet, but there's a guy on YouTube named NDMD. And he made a whole series of these interviews called 73 Questions with such and such. And so the first one I saw was 73 Questions with a Nurse Practitioner. And that nurse practitioner's name was Kojo Sarfo. He does have his DMP. I forgot where he lives, but I'll put the link in the description box. But anyway, it's 73 questions, and I love the videography of it and also the content of the questions. So with each video, it starts with him like entering that space. So maybe he's knocking on their door, like of their home, or he's in the hospital and he's entering their office space. Or one person, I think the anesthesiologist was in a locker room. So you see the introduction of them kind of meeting, and then he'll say something along the lines of, "Ready for your 73 questions?" And they say, "Yeah." So the first question is like, "What's your name?" And then they go through different ones, like kind of like their background into medicine, their background into their specialty. Then it gets more on the personal side, like family, how much time do they spend charting? And then like reflective questions, what they wanted to be when they were a kid, what advice did they have for the aspiring, whatever. So if they're a nurse practitioner, anesthesiologist, he did a nursing student. I saw one, I didn't see the one for the dental student, but I saw, or a dentist, but he has done a dentist. Dermatologist, I'm not even gonna tell you all the ones. There was a lot. I watched quite a few of them. And I have been watching a lot of like provider content. And I think before I wouldn't have had the language, but I was talking to someone, I think I already mentioned it. Clarence, for the podcast, he's our Becoming a Physician that we're following. He's a first year medical student. And he said that they take a course on like how to be a physician, and I cannot get that out of my head. And I think that's what I'm looking for, like learning how to be, because I think even though NP school is a little, I mean, it's graduate level, right? So bachelor's, I feel like the bachelor's level in terms of clinical training is heavy on task. Even though there's a lot of other things happening and a lot of the education does take you in that direction, I still feel like there's a heavy emphasis on like task. So whether they're IVs or even as an NP or diagnosis, like it's still something that you could check off, right? You could say, I did that. But I feel that now I'm in this space, there are other things that are not, that don't fit in a checkbox per se. So that would be like communication, style of communication, this whole sense of project management, even boundary setting, identifying workflows. There are just some things that I'd like to hear other people's journeys and experiences, and it's been really insightful. And so this was just another example of that. Yeah, and I imagine there's nurse practitioners out here making that content too. I just haven't stumbled across it. So if you know any channels and you want to refer me, you can leave it in the comments or message me directly. Um, so yeah, so I love the idea. And to me, it's just like another trend in social media. I think he stopped making them. So like I know that one of the more recent ones I watched, and then I think I realized why he was doing these is because he was trying to decide his own specialty. And so in one of the more recent videos I watched, he had submitted his preference from his specialty for getting matched, and he chose anesthesiology. And so at the time, I want to say that was 2 months ago, and so he hasn't obviously haven't had match day yet. But I don't know if he's still making those videos. And one thing I really liked about those videos and can respect is that he traveled to those people. Some people did live other places, but a lot of them, he's in Georgia, and so a lot of them were in Georgia. But I want to replicate that. So I already wrote out the 73 questions. I've made adjustments to what I would want to ask somebody and what I think would be helpful, particularly for nurses and nurse practitioners. But I'm really trying to increase awareness about like all the opportunities in healthcare, even if it's not direct patient care. And so I'm really, well, I already decided that I want to extend those questions to people who don't do direct patient care as well. And then I'll just alter those questions. So if you're listening to this and you're interested in participating in the 73 questions, let me know. And if you know someone who's like, you know what I really want? I want like a coroner, medical examiner, sonographer, um, like, and even jobs that I don't even know to ask. Like if you work in healthcare and you're like, this is a really great specialty, this is a really great, career path, more people should know about it. Yeah, hit me up. I would love to chat about partnering on the podcast. And so typically we've released shows every Tuesday at 10 a.m. on TMI Tuesdays. But I'm thinking for like all these videos that I'm doing, like on nursing journeys and kind of more on the career side, that I'll more than likely upload those on Sundays. I use a few data analytic tools that kind of tell us the best times and days to upload. And I will look at that. But off the top of my head, since everybody's home on Sundays, I'm thinking about posting it on Sunday. We actually have a meeting, me and my co-host, this week to go over season 3, and so I'll be another update for next week. I should probably write my updates here. That would actually be really smart, so then I can follow through on what I say. So I think I was gonna catch you up on how my new charting and billing goes, and then how the meeting goes. But yeah, so these 73 questions, and they actually get done. Some people got done in like 18 minutes. Some people like around 30. And that's what we average on this show for the most part is 20 or 30-minute videos. And so, yeah, I think I'm excited to kind of pay homage to this trend that he started and carry it out with a little bit of a twist. So stay tuned for that. And then I feel like there was something else I wanted to bring. Oh yeah, we're gonna be doing well, what I want to do is I want to go, which I've been wanting to do for a long time, and now that I'm not traveling, that can happen. And so I want to go into schools and just teach the kids about primary care, like the importance of primary care, and then like conduct blood pressure readings. I need to look into like that. I had contacted someone before who was part of a group that was doing that like in barbershops, and he gave me the person that I could contact. I just need to do that to find out kind of like the legal side of that and like the liability, just like doing blood pressures and stuff. But that's the idea. And then I want to start a Patreon page so that people can make donations, and then we'll use that money to purchase the monitors. I've already looked up the monitors and like what the average cost is. And so those are two things that I'll be rolling out while we're on our hiatus. So yeah, we just wrapped season 2 on Tuesday with Demetrius Kirk's second episode. He's our becoming doctor of nursing practice student that we're following every semester from now until he graduates, just to bring awareness about that degree and what it means for nursing in general and for healthcare overall, to have doctorally prepared nurses in a variety of settings and to inspire the next generation too. So yeah, that just wrapped, and so we won't officially be back until May during Nurses Week. That's one of the things I'm really excited to talk about this week with the girls, kind of their ideas for that. I have a few ideas naturally. So yeah, stay tuned for that. If you have ideas too, one thing I really wanted to do, and I don't know that I would spend time on it this year, is like, especially after being in the hospital that long, and people, for the most part, the general consensus is that there could be more done, right, to recognize nurses, especially during Nurses Week. And so I've watched some videos on like what Google does for like their swag for their employees. But I was really thinking like talking to a company that like excels in recognizing their employees, just to get some ideas on how entities could show support for their nurses. I don't know that that's something I'll do this year, but it's something it's on my mind. So yeah, that's the podcast. And then, so like I said, I participated in Rachel Rodgers' Make Money Moves challenge a few weeks ago, and that was my second group coaching. And then I did another one after that, and I have one more coming up. And in some ways, they're all kind of in the same millionaire circle. And now that I've done them, there's definitely a formula everyone follows, which has been insightful. And so, speaking of that challenge, like maybe 2 weeks ago, I got a notification that I was like signed up for a meeting on Sunday. And so I thought it was going to be like one of the coaches from that program, like trying to sell their services. But it was these other women who had been in the challenge with me, and they had previously been like met on Sunday before, but I don't know why I didn't join them 2 weeks ago. But yeah, it was just kind of just like a meeting of entrepreneurs. And so in the last meeting, they had talked about what they were going to, this meeting was going to, what they were going to work on between then and now, which was like the customer journey. And it was great. I'm probably the most novice and like fresh with like the least to show or say. And then it was a really good mix. Some of them have been doing it like really long time and very crisp presentation. Um, and yeah, I just appreciate the fact that you have these like-minded women all trying to not leave money on the table, excel in their, grow their business, not afraid to admit their limitations or fears, not afraid to ask questions or receive feedback. Um, and yeah, I think even just being able to ask for feedback and receive it is a skill in itself, right? Um, yeah, that was really good. I really love that because like I kind of just like thirst for that community that I'm always talking about, right? And so to be a part of that is great, not having to convince people and just kind of just like get to work. It was really nice. So I look forward to that. So in 2 weeks, uh, everyone's going to kind of follow up on where they were. The main thing we're going to do, I don't know that one person needs to do that as much, but the rest of us really going to iron down like our customer journey. which is basically how someone finds you unt until you get to whatever it is you're doing. So let's say, for instance, if it's like signing up for my Virtual Preceptor program. So how do you find me, like, first time, right? Is it organically? Is it through advertisement? And then all the different steps in between that lead you to then purchase the program. And there could be other opportunities for making a sale along that continuum, but ultimately, whatever you're trying to, you're demonstrating that whole journey, and at different points, what's happening with you and with the customer and with the business. So they pretty much already, yeah, I think everyone already has, like, they already had like a base that they were able to show. Um, And at first, I wasn't familiar with that particular, like, visual, but the more they talked about it, then I was like, "Oh, that's just like workflow, like what we did in our DNP project and that I did for this in my job." And so that kinda helped me kinda, I mean, their visuals were a great example too. Um, but yeah, so next week or in 2 weeks, we'll meet again, and I'll have that, and we're all supposed to add, like, a little more detail, kinda just, like, identifying barriers or if something happens along those points, and maybe just a little bit more granular detail, and then have the idea that I this new so the idea that I have for the preceptor problem, I came up with it during NP school, or it was in that BSN to DNP program at some point. Um, when I took the entrepreneur innovation course. And so I wanted to solve the preceptor problem. And initially, I even have like a 10-year plan, like, all about this preceptor problem. Initially, it was going to be brick and mortar. And so leading up to that, first I had to become an MP. I had to learn how to be an MP. And then when I decided to do derm, it's like, okay, I need time to learn how to do derm, right? And so in the midst of that, deciding if I wanted to stay in healthcare or whatever. I decided I want to stay in healthcare. And after I came across Justin Allen and saw, like, oh, he has a community of, nurse practitioners who are in the entrepreneurial space, that I would love, that's what I want to do. And so when I came across the option to do like a telehealth company, it's like, oh, I could do this while I'm waiting to get to, the big project. Um, and then I've started down that path, and then that got on hold because I had to finish doing the travel contract and becoming licensed and credentialed and all of that stuff that takes so much time. So in the meantime, while things are kind of just waiting for me to for my experience to catch up with my ideas, I'm still out here, like, creating content, learning the space, networking, becoming more familiar with the specialty, more familiar with the business side, and learning more, right? Like, actually, I was just listening to a pastor, and he said, I want to make sure, let me make sure I get this right. I should have wrote it down. Oh, I wish I could say it the same way, but sometimes we can feel like we're being, that our progress is being delayed, but actually we're just being developed. You're probably gonna hear me say that on Instagram sometime this week. And so it's actually been really a blessing that everything's taken has taken longer than I wanted it to, because it helped me really simplify my goal and my idea, which in my experience with writing, like, I could write forever, right? And my problem wasn't that writing or even finding it what to write about, it's the editing and being more concise. And so the blog has helped me with that a lot, because I write for clinicians who don't have time. And so I try to keep things pretty concise and get to the point. So it's been really helpful for that. And so while I wanted things to move really fast, it helped me so much by having this extra time, because then it made me really, and probably I probably was feeling overwhelmed then too. And once I realized I could really just pick whatever I want to focus on and simplify the idea, like, it's that whole, like, we got milk, right? It's just simple, like simple. And I've always been like, man, I just want to, like, your idea doesn't have to be grand. It could be so simple. And so the extra time allowed me to get to that space. And I'm so happy for that. And then even more, so then I'm out here networking, talking to people, and spending a lot of time doing those things and hearing like all these coaches and all these people talking about how you should just, well, first of all, do what you love, right? And then kind of look at what you're already doing and like capitalize on that, right? And so the stuff I'm spending all this time doing could just be the thing I do, right? I don't need to create something else when I'm already doing something. So that's where I'm at right now. That's how you started hearing more about the virtual preceptor, because while I'm out here in this virtual space every day making content, it dawned on me like, man, I could make my concept virtual, right? And then I don't need to have this long plan of it being brick and mortar. Now that can still happen, but I don't know that it needs to happen anymore. Now that I've thought about the virtual option, I don't know that it needs to, especially because I'm really into tech, I'm really into sustainability. And for me, the more things that don't require space, not only is it great for the lifestyle I want to live, right? I don't want to be tied to anything physical. Although honestly, I don't think like just because you build a business, you have to be physically working there. But still, the idea that something can be virtual, because then it lends itself to our global community, which is really what I want to be able to be a part of. But even just like my own experience as being a remote learner, you have the global community, a traveler, people who have kids. And so, and then like the community that I'm a part of, that's like the sabbatical life, right? All of that, even the millionaire mindset is really to build things that don't require you to be at the helm for them to run, right? So you just keep hearing that, you keep hearing that, and it's like, yeah, I'm not trying to build something that would slow down or tie me down. And so once this virtual concept came into the picture, man, it just brought everything together, right? Healthcare, education, tech, all my education, all my experiences with science, engineering, and medicine. And the fact that I spent my whole life in academia, it's, what I love to do. It's what I love to talk about, education. And while I spent my whole life in formal education, I don't think it's a necessity, right? And even really kind of questioning its its longevity, because when you are able to come on the internet and get information, and maybe they speed up the pace at which you're able to execute that information at an extremely lower cost than compared to, say, going to a university and paying that tuition. And so when you think about the cost of tuition and you compare that to an entrepreneur, so let's say you're creating something and you want to sell this remote, right? You're thinking, okay, it took me 2 weeks to build this remote. What is my time worth in 2 weeks? That's the wrong way to think about it. What you have to think about is, what's the consumer going to do with this remote? Is this remote going to allow them to make content, and that content helps them bring in their business, and that business, it might be valued at $1 million? Then all of a sudden, you just, if you charge them $500 for this remote, and they were able to use this remote to build $1 million business, that $500 is nothing, right? In the grand scheme of things, it was almost, you gave it away for free when you think about it. And so when you're creating content, you're creating things of value. The value is not in what you put into it, it's in what the other person's going to get out of it. That's a mind shift right there. And I go down these paths and I forgot why I went there. Yeah, I forgot totally why I went there. But and then I watched it back, and it's like, how did you forget that fast? But I did. That's what happens when you have a lot on your mind. Um, but yeah. So now it's just about putting all these ideas together. Well, not all of them, it's one idea. Um, Oh, that's what it was. It was the whole cost of tuition, right? And so you could say, "Oh, why does it cost that much money for what you're getting?" Right? If you're not even using that degree to get a job in that field. Because with their I mean, and this is definitely a theory at the ticket price of tuition, but, one could say that, the reason you're paying $30,000 a year is because they recognize this information they're giving you. You can then use it to make X amount of dollars, right? And build a huge career, multiple careers, multiple business, multiple opportunities, right? So, and you have your whole life to pay it back. That's what someone said. And so all of a sudden that $30,000 is much smaller in comparison. Um, but so you take that, right? And you have the argument that you're not even using the degree, or it didn't even help you get the job you wanted, or you still had to go back and do other things. And you compare that to what you can do on the internet. Yeah, maybe you're paying $1,000, maybe you're paying $3,000 to work with someone or to get information. But at the end of that relationship or journey, however it's arranged, you can execute immediately. And so for me, the current state of education it's evolved, right? It evolved even in my time. And it's going to continue to do that at an accelerated pace. And I want to ride that. I want to ride that trend. And so, yeah, that's just the space I want to be in. And so after being in the space, in the entrepreneurial space, and seeing people, we all did the same thing, right? We had an idea, we took a course, we became part of the community. And while they went ahead and built the business, and I've been on a kind of on the back burner building all these other areas of my life, I've been able to see like what's working and what's not working. And where even though someone gave you like a whole course, a whole lot of templates, and a community, you still have pain points, right? Um, and so it's like after seeing these pain points appear every single day, right, in the community, it's like, no, who's addressing the pain point? And all of a sudden, my attention has shifted. Like I could address that pain point, right? Because since I haven't been able to build the business as fast as I want, I have been able to continue to study and learn the business. And while you're practicing and caring for patients, that's where all your attention has gone, and so you don't know all these other great tools and resources exist to alleviate your problem, right? And you're not going to have that time because either you're not interested or the structure of your business relies on you to be present, and so you really can't walk away from it to even invest in more education. And so that pain point continues to exist. And every day a new person starts a business and they have the same pain point. And so the market is there. I'm part of the target market. So I understand it very well. And so I just started to identify another gap. Originally the gap was in care, right? In dermatology and education for nurses and nurse practitioners, and it's still there. And so yeah, I've decided to shift into that space a little more. And so the mission and vision, like, for that brick and mortar it's still very present, but it just needs to be modified for this virtual space. And so that's what I'm gonna be working on the next 2 weeks is making my vision clear, and then, my workflow. And for me, that's what I told the group, so I need to get that done before then. But I also once I have that vision clear, I'm trying to just decide the business structure, like the legal entity part of it. And so I'll be doing that over the next I wanna have it kinda cleared out over the week, but we'll see. Either the next week or 2. So we're gonna wrap up. So on Tuesday, I go back for my 3rd derm visit, and so I'll do my update next Sunday. Yeah, we'll wait till then. But I've been really happy with how it's going, so there's a sneak peek. If I left anything out or I wasn't really clear, just let me know in the comments. Please like, share, please subscribe if you haven't already. It lets other nurses, nurse practitioners, students, and the people who love us um, get notified of the content. That's how the algorithm works, right? And so when you like it and you comment, it lets YouTube know this is valuable. And because YouTube is owned by Google and Google has all of our data, then Google knows that when someone whom we share similar traits with, like digital traits, digital footprints, when they come into YouTube, YouTube will know to show this to them. Yeah, I think that's all I have for now. Just gonna double check my notes. So yeah, I'll come up with the updates for my derm visit. So next week will probably just be a derm visit, and then 2 weeks from now, I'll have that meeting with the ladies, and then maybe I'll come back after that meeting so I can give you an update on where I am in the business. Unless it works out for me to film sooner than that. What do you think? We'll see. Um, Something else I was gonna say. I'm using that warm lighting again. We'll see how it is. Right here it seems fine, but yeah. I still haven't bought any microphones. So once we have the meeting with the podcast, that'll be another update. Podcast update, charting and billing. I'll have to do the derm visit, and then my new, what should I call them? My new Make Money Moves think tank. So we'll come back with those updates. Thank you so much for watching. All week I'll be talking about social media on Instagram. I started last week, which this thing I'm calling social media class. So if you want to join in over there, I'm helping you not feel so overwhelmed when it comes to social media by taking it one step at a time, one day at a time. But even if you don't have time for that, and even if you're not interested in learning, but you still want help, you still want to elevate your presence on social media, you're not going to be the next Apple, but you at least want to take advantage of free marketing and engagement with your community. I would love to help you, whether you just need help with coming up with a calendar, a marketing strategy for 2024, or however many quarters you like to be ahead. So kind of like giving you a strategic plan, or maybe the next tier, which is actually so you have your plan, and then you have your strategy, like how to actually get all of that accomplished. Or maybe you want a little more hand holding, or maybe you want to be all hands off and you just want to hire me on board um, in terms of social media, patient education. Maybe you have staff education, student education, and even ghostwriting, which is something I do, and I don't talk a lot about it, but you're going to hear more about it. And of course, creating digital content. Um, Ooh, I didn't even tell you guys. So glad you stayed to the end. I started my Etsy shop just tonight. There's only one item in there. And if you really want to follow that journey, like from start to finish, because most people come on here and just tell you once it's on, they've sold 500 things and it looks so beautiful and they have reviews and everything and they're already doing a sale. And then it's like, wow. And you wonder, how'd they do that? Well, if you want to follow literally from scratch, you can do that. So I'll put the link in the description box. It's called the Virtual Preceptor Co. There's only one ebook there, and I still need to make I literally just opened it at 6 o'clock 3 hours ago. There's one ebook in there on mentorship. The next one's going to be for preceptorship. Don't even have a logo or anything. But yeah, so if you want to follow that journey, like I said, I love students, or I love the learner, right? So if you identify as the learner, then I'm here for you. And you can just kind of follow that and learn and ask questions and provide feedback. I'm all about feedback and making things better. For the people who are going to use it. So I actually do have a student. She's a pre-PA student. She's agreed to she's in the process of finding a mentor right now. So yeah, and she's in this DMV area. So if you know someone who wants to precept a PA, please let me know. You can message me privately through the Mahogany Dermatology blog. Yeah, she's going to use it to find her mentor and provide me some feedback. And then I'll use that as start growing my testimonials. And so if you're new to the business world, that is when people provide feedback on their experience with you and you share that with other potential clients, because reviews rule in this world. We all know we check reviews before we make a purchase. And so one way you can get those reviews and build your testimonials, especially as a new business, is by offering your services for free or reaching out to people who you already helped in the past, either in a free capacity or a paid capacity. And so, since I'm already helping her, and she's actually she's of value to me as well, for the feedback, and having it be used in real time is really helpful for me. Um, so yeah, that's all I have for now. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful week. Please be kind to yourself. And yeah, I'll see you next time.